What the fuck is this world? What have they done to us? What did they do to us?
This chick.
Oh, I saw this today.
Now, this is. I'm going to pause this real quickly. It's pretty brutal.
I couldn't get the context. I didn't know what it was.
I looked into it. She has a thing called PNH, which is paroxysmal nocturnal hemoglobin, something like that. It's essentially a fucking what is it? It's like a bone marrow immune fucking problem. It's very similar to other ones like that, but some of the symptoms are abdominal pain, back pain, blood clots, dark urine, bruising or bleeding, headache, so on and so forth. So this chick, and I won't go into her whole story. Actually, I can read out the statement that they released. It would be better to do that.
This was like, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. So I looked into it and I found out about who she was and her story because I knew she'd have one. I'll quickly just so people don't have to look at the poor thing, man. I feel really bad, but she's actually doing all right now. Apparently, she's getting better. I think. Just give me a second. Here it is. So it says she has PNH and has had terrible migraines for the last 2 weeks. She went in for help. Her hemoglobin was severely low. And they did a bone marrow biopsy, some transfusions, but they told her that she couldn't get any treatment until she was vaccinated. Well, have we heard that before? Yes, we have. She couldn't get any treatment until she was fully vaccinated. So they gave her tetanus.
Totally vaccinated.
She hadn't had enough, apparently. She'd only had the ones when she was a little kid. Yep. They gave her tetanus, meningitis, pneumonia, all at vaccines. So tetanus, meningitis, pneumonia, all in one hit. She'd had 0 with the exceptions of when she was a baby. 10 minutes after she was jabbed, this happened to her face. So obviously she's got PNH and the symptoms are bruising and stuff like that. So an average person's not going to explode in bruises the way she did. I don't believe. But she absolutely exploded. And now what the upsetting part is for her story is that she has been she's been suppressed and ignored. She's been so she got the 3. She's been neglected. Basically, they reckon that she was left to pee in a bucket. They didn't want much to do with her. They said she'll be fine. It was just bruising because of her condition. But it's really it's just another one of those things where when something happens, when there's adverse effects, no matter what, people are just left on their own to fend for themselves because they are a walking, breathing example of the narrative crumbling or showing holes. And
Josie just said it was 48 hours later after her 3 shots.
Well, from her post on her thing, I read that it was only 10 minutes they started, but I believe that the major bruising and all that was later, correct? But she had problems immediately. So within 10 minutes, she lost feeling in her arms and then started breaking out in bruises. Look, I don't know the whole story, but what I'm saying is when that sort of thing happens 10 minutes after you get a jab, when you were in there for something else, She was in there because she had a problem that creates that has clotting issues and has bruising and blood issues. She had a blood disease. And they were like, well, while you're here, we better give you 3 vaccines in one hit that were
So it's
nothing.
three, because that's exactly what Bess just said. She goes, "Why would you give 3 at once? That's so fucked."
But why
So
would you
there's
give
3
3 at
different
once
ones.
to somebody that has an autoimmune disease that is struggling and will obviously have problems? That's more what I mean. Why were they like, oh, she's here, quick, let's take this opportunity to fucking jab her up? So what did I say she had? She had tetanus, meningitis, and pneumonia shots in one hit. And they obviously fucking smoked her. That whoever made that decision was a fucking idiot and obviously hasn't ever thought or even read the Hippocratic Oath. Because
But I don't seem to care. Most of them don't care
that's what
anymore.
I mean. I don't need to be a doctor to realize that I did one little Google search on what PNH was and what its symptoms were, and immediately thought, well, I understand how vaccines work or supposed to work.
Yeah.
And that's not something that you would pump into somebody with autoimmune problems at all, unless you knew what you were fucking doing. And what did she really have a mad high risk of catching tetanus or meningitis? You know what I mean? Or pneumonia? No, she was in there because she was having headaches. So why give her a pneumonia shot? Why give her a tetanus shot? And why give her a meningitis shot? It doesn't make fucking sense. So anyway, look, it was just something that I saw that was a visual shock that gave me the shits, because I go on these thought rants on my own while I'm driving or whatever, and I just think to myself, how can you be so fucking stupid unless you just straight up don't care or you're that brainwashed? And so I played the video not because I wanted to. I don't know the girl. I think she's come good or whatever. It's not about making a scene about her. It's more about, that's the example of how little they give a fuck about you and your
I'd love to follow up on that. I might do some research on that, but then I always say I'm going to do that. But
and you never get around to it. That's why I tried to do a little bit. I tried to look into it just to make sure that it wasn't some clickbait, and it was surface level, seemed pretty legit. But once again, I'm not in it for her plight. I think she's doing all right now. But the reason I wanted to play that was more for the value of, like, she wouldn't be the only one, and just because she had a really brutal physical reaction, a lot of people don't have the outside reaction for you to see how fucking shit it is. They have an internal reaction which you can't see unless they die. But that was just an external reaction just to keep us on our toes. You know what I mean? But it really fucking pisses me off. I get really upset that people's lives are worth so little to these people that are supposed to be. They're supposed to have sworn to hold human life sacred, and they're honestly, they're not on our side anymore, man. I can't trust them anymore. And when you go in, and I've seen them do it, you go in and they
like
go,
a
"Oh,
mechanic now.
you
You've
haven't
got to
had
try and find a good mechanic,
right?" You go in and you just don't think, you just think you're fucking trying to slip anything into me.